Does anybody have any question? Maybe about Top Gun. I saw that too. Oh yeah.
Zen Master Sun would say a lot, you must believe in yourself 100%, most important. And he has a story also about Kobong Suni that he would, instead of bringing money to them, but he would drink wine and rice and stuff. And most important, he believed in himself, so it was okay. So my question is, where and is there a place for kind of self-criticism, for constructive criticism, for kind of saying, you know, if I only believe in myself 100%, then if someone tells me, well, you're doing something here wrong, you should do it like this, like that, and you say, no, I believe in myself and do it anyway. So kind of where does that mean, believe in yourself, but also not do whatever I want?
I think it's an important question. So when we say, actually just as information in Korean, that we don't have that kind of expression much. But actually when I heard the Dharma speech and when I get more familiar with the English expression, actually that was quite perfect. That believe in yourself. But in Korean we don't say like 너 자신을 믿어라 in Zen practice. See, he's laughing because it doesn't make much sense in Korean Zen, especially if you're a Zen practitioner. 넌 너 자신을 믿어야 돼. We don't really say that, but I think practicing together with these English-speaking people, that actually made sense to me, because when he said that believe in yourself, it's interesting because the bottom line of our practice can be said that actually find out who you are, right? So relating that, actually, if I tell you that believe in yourself, first you have to find out who you are, then actually you can believe in yourself. What kind of yourself would you believe? Actually, that's your question too. So when this plays very clear and solid, the true I appear. Believe that. It's not about actually based on your idea, judgment, that actually you think, oh, is this about being confident? Is this about actually really like I can do or not? Or is this just the other person's prejudice about myself? It's all based on actually your idea, your thinking mind. But when you say like believe in yourself means actually get stronger with this point, because that's your true I, right? So I think still I'm not a native English speaker, so if people can really connect with that, what I meant, but I was kind of finding out what that could be. So if you just again, as he said, like this clear mind, which means you return to your true nature. We demonstrate that here, this, right? And actually at this point there is no even I or you. There is no even like a true I, first I, deluded I. There's nothing like that. It's only name. As we all understand in primary point, there's no name and form. How can you say like that's the true or first? But most of you understand it's beyond the word. So you get it? Then that means in word, you are able to believe in yourself. So let's try not to attach the word. It's not easy, I know. But hope that answers for your question. Any other question? Sim said like his favorite tea is best tea is plain water. I agree. And best taste is plain taste. So actually that means because it includes everything, I think. If you just attach to some particular taste or some tea, it's a kind of, in some sense it's narrow. But when you say there's a plane, that means actually there are big potential there. Because it's a zero. Of course, how you project your mind, then that turns into maybe good or bad. So our also probably, again, true nature is something like that. It has the potential. So it looks like emptiness, but actually it's a kind of ground where all the seed can grow. It's interesting. I think many years ago there was, I don't know if this teacher still teaches in Korea, because one of my Korean Dharma brothers actually one time talked to me about a very well-known lay kind of spiritual teacher in Korea. Some years ago, and he got me a book of his, some books, and I read how he started practicing. It was quite very actually inspiring. So he had really like a tough life. He had a lot of difficulties and desperated. And then after he decided to commit suicide. So there are many ways to do that. And he wanted to go to the ocean. So he just wanted to jump into there. And just when he approached the water, on the sand, the beach, just about to jump into the water, there was a body of a dead puppy. And so he suddenly he just fell and kneeled down, and he held this the dead puppy body, and he just started crying so a long time. And he cannot explain why he burst into cry. It was just a moment that actually he was just finishing his life, and he just found this dead body of the puppy. And then he just crying. And after some time, then he felt, something was moving in his arm. And the puppy actually alive back. And then he was so happy. And he was so happy. Then he saw the sky and the ocean was so beautiful. And he just threw away this idea to commit suicide. He stood up and then he turned around. We thinking like that actually he has saved this puppy. But then at the moment actually he turned around, he realized that actually the puppy saved his life. And then he got this big, some emotional moment, and then he didn't kill himself. And I don't know if he's still actually an active teacher, but there was very interesting kind of story. When Sinim was sharing about this lost mind, one mind, and the clear mind, there are many kind of interesting stories by many teachers in our school. But just that story also popped up in my mind. When we have this very difficult emotional or physical situation, our mind tends to be lost very easily, right? But then, like the man, when he just encountered this dead body of the puppy, only one mind. I think we sometimes experience that naturally, but actually, because we understand about human suffering, about all these, life issues, so we wish to find a way to deal with that kind of suffering or any issues, so that we try to attain first this one mind. And then that can be delivered by chanting or bowing or, meditation, so that you attain this oneness, one mind. There's no happiness, sadness, or like and dislike, all these opposite ideas or feelings, all just become one. And then, as he said, like a clear mind. And then, when mind become very simple, then some action or some very like a spontaneous action or speech just appear by themselves. He just turned around and they started trying to grab any ball on the cliff. So that's a kind of clear mind. Just what to do just appear without any your mind being stuck in. So I think it's that's probably kind of in the word the process of our practice. Is lost mind and one mind and clear mind. Alex, I think you had a question.
Yes.
Yeah.
In our school, there's a lot of talk about compassion.
About compassion.
Compassion, yeah. And I've read the Shen Shou, the ayah to the sixth patriarch said, do not differentiate between right and wrong. Do not love and do not hate. And that is all. So I was wondering, because sometimes, we feel that something we are doing is right, and the opposite. Sometimes we feel, probably after the fact, that something we've done is wrong. Or we do love and we do hate sometimes. Is this how to find it and how to find it, how to use it, or just try to let go of everything. What is the
yeah.
How to find yourself between this right and wrong, love and hate?
Yeah, it's always we hear that kind of teaching word that the true path is not difficult. Only just put down your like and dislike. So right and wrong. Yeah, easy to understand, but when you encounter that kind of situation, often actually we are not even aware of if I'm pursuing right or not. But then after something happened to you, then you start thinking about it, that I have done right or wrong, and those kind of questions, I think. So it's here a lot of experienced practitioners here, and I think it's this can be also important. Actually, we still get sometimes lost or think a lot about this issue. I think everybody has that issue, including myself. Is actually not about that moment. It's about actually the consequence after you have done something. So, which means actually, even logically, the important part is this part, not at the moment. And if you are actually have a bigger deal with this consequence, that means actually, simply saying you need a harder practice. Because that first lets you relieved from all these kind of, checking or thinking. But also more important, actually, when you face again that kind of situation, I think just naturally you will make right. And this right is not about the opposite meaning of wrong. It's about actually this believing in your true self, so that just appear from the bottom of your heart. So, first to answer for that is you need to practice harder. And if we still check, was that wrong or right, or this person was right or wrong, whose responsibility was bigger for this trouble, then that means still we are in the realm of these dualistic ideas. So it is important how you can actually broke up those kind of frame. So you are Hengwan. So it's pretty clear that what you will have to do in each situation. Then sometimes maybe after something happened that if you, this kind of, dilemma comes to you, then, well, I'm hang on, so I will just say yes. Okay, you are right. That can be a very good scheme, right? Yeah. Any other question? Yesterday I was meeting a group of Posalims from Seoul. And I happened to talk about Mandoo because one of the old ladies, a big lover of pets, like animals. And she's kind of wealthy old lady in Gangnam. And but she's not like just, kind of snobbish Gangnam Posalim. She's really have this compassion. And well, for some reason, we happened to talk about cats and some animals, and then I a little told them that about Mandoo situation. And actually, I told them in the temple, we are not supposed to keep any pet. It's even precepts actually. But then sometimes it just happened by some very interesting instant that we cannot just push them away. The 3 cats around here that they were kind of abandoned by their mom, and it was raised in the kind of temple, and it was not really meant to be pet here. But there are millions of stories with them, with our old resident snims know. And then I happened to talk to them about it, and then I told them, some snims here who really like to help him said one time that, we all had some a good time with him. Joy, we got some joy, from what they did to us. So I think we should help them. And then, actually, I thought it made sense. It's quite fair. Because thinking about actually, even I used their story during my some transmission ceremony, so I thought I owe them too, actually. It's very fair. And because in my position in the temple, sometimes it's a little deal for me how to handle, this when there is a little issue. But then when I heard that, actually, wow, that's pretty fair that we owe each other. And I just joined what our snims are doing. So sometimes this compassion, not sometimes actually, very often, which we call a compassion, equal this simple mind. Then things become very clear. If your mind is very busy, very hard to get some wisdom in any situation. People who have very simple mind, that means actually they have a lot of wisdom because they can just, respond in a very simple way and very easily can catch with all these 6 senses. Like a lost mind, one mind, clear mind. So this clear mind means actually we trust our 6th sense. When we talk about this 6th sense, sometimes there is some tendency that it's a little negative because human being attached to a lot about this sense, what you see, what you hear, what you taste, what you touch, what you think. Because we human being very easily attached to that. When we just even say about the word 6th sense, often it goes negative feeling. But on the other hand, if you trust 100% outcome from your 6th sense, a teacher said actually it's enlightenment. That means actually your mind is very simple, so that whatever you see, hear, smell, think, just you can take as it is, which means your mind is very simple. Then the outcome, the way you respond to that, the situation and condition, very simple and clear. That's wisdom. And it can be called enlightenment. So all we do here is actually, I think, relate to that. Like even sitting is number one, just doing it. As the Sunim said, like in this Dharma toy, that if you don't have this just doing in mind, it's very hard to sit. It's very hard. Like some people sometimes leave their retreat before the time they applied for. Because, it's sad, but it's just very difficult to deal with this, a lot of thinking, and that also brings a lot of emotion. Because, the form is very simple. You just sit and looking at the floor. Form is very simple, but we see inside you, like some people's mind, it's amazing. Even we one time, Taebong S님 said, it would be very interesting if we visualize what each one thinking during the sitting. Like a cartoon. It would be so interesting, visualizing what each one is thinking at the moment. But some people can deal with it. Like as S님 said, it just come back. Oh yeah, thinking come, but just come back. For some people, it's very, very, very difficult. So then sometimes they leave their retreat before the end or the date they applied for. It's sad. It's actually one of the most difficult moments for me to deal. But I also understand it's hard. Like recently I talked with someone who was in that trouble that, I actually seem to relate. Even though I'm very sad that if you have to make the decision, because I have done this kind of Gyolje quite many times. I have done a few solo retreat, and both of the time, that's quite a big deal for me, feeling this sense of loneliness. But do you know which one is worse? Because when I do solo retreat, physically I understand I'm alone. So feeling loneliness is kind of makes sense. But when I feel this deep lonely with this group of people during Gyolje, what is this? Now I don't. Who knows? But in the past, when I was younger, and I know people around here, they are all kind, and they are all Dharma fellows. But why do I feel this deep loneliness? And that was actually even more difficult. Then that I had to deal with this loneliness when I do solo retreat. So it's basically about what is this. It's a very interesting creature, we human being. What is about this? By the way, I hope everybody complete your retreat as long as you applied. Yeah. Yes.
I have a question about social engaged Buddhism.
Social
engaged.
Mm-hmm.
Because the last few years I lived in a Western country, and I noticed that most of the Buddhist schools and also other spiritual systems, they tend to be quite engaged in society. They do work for ecology, for prisoners, for peace, for homeless, all kinds of work like this, a lot of projects. And it's kind of even expected. Like you say, I'm Buddhist, everybody expects you to work in the hospice also. But in our school, it seems to me that we don't do that much. I mean, we say a lot,
Mm.
may I help you, but that's about it. So my question is it like, is it something that was presented by the satsang that we shouldn't engage in any projects, or is it what's going on?
Yeah.
Where are we engaged?
Yeah. So actually, recently, again, one of the retreatants who were living yesterday, asked me about kind of similar question when I had tea with him before he left, and he was sharing his experience in Soto school and then some other tradition. And first of all, I mean, by the way, actually, it's a good reminder that I wanted, like, he had a great time here, he said. But I could, feel that he meant it. Because he said, when he go to some Zen centers, then he said about 6 or 7 other Zen centers he has joined some retreat. And this place was most balanced, yeah, I'm praising probably ourselves. That means including myself. So, but he actually wanted to really let us know that a mixture of hard practice, but also he was so impressed by people here, so kind. Quite differently from what he experienced in other Zen tradition. So, but anyway, he asked me, but by the way, the question that he asked me, do I think actually Zen tradition must be a little more proactive in society? So that's what actually kind of you asked. And one of his teachers in the past, I think he has met probably a few other teachers, and then when she was asked to go to some school to teach about Zen meditation, she kind of refused, because that's not what kind of Zen teacher is supposed to do, something like that. It's actually not easy to answer for that kind of question, because first of all, I have not met them, and I haven't really watched what the situation was at the time. But I told him I kind of seemed to understand what she meant, but maybe she could send one of her students to the school, right? So, but also I told him that I think it's also important to find out what can be actually what can be that you can be good to help. So sometimes, like Taebong Sim says, when you think that you help someone, you have the idea to help someone, then you yourself also must be happy. I think it is very important, because that's about actually how we function with our true nature. Because while you are actually helping or proactive or try to engage in more social activity to help people on the surface even phenomena, then if you deeply feel like you are doing something that you don't really want, or something that you think really not authentic help, or it's not your practice, sometimes you face that kind of dilemma, right? So even to be engaged in, I think, activity to help people in society, I think that's very important basis that you should attain sooner or later. I think it's okay that you just to do that, even if you have not really found out. That's great, the intention. But often I saw, and my experience, at least I'm not happy simply saying in my mind that I'm saying helping, maybe like one time in Kongan interview, how may I help you, but you don't really feel that, then that's quite dry. So I think the engaging in social activity to help people must be the same. So before, during Kongan interview, sometimes people give me a very bad look because they have to say, how may I help you? And I'm not happy either. Because I see that they don't mean that. And I also have that experience too. And then as the more I face that kind of expression or that kind of reaction, ironically, I can relate to that. Because that's not true. So, doesn't matter. Sometimes we say like fake it until you make it, right? That also another way. Well, that works sometimes, right? For some people. That really happen if you fake it, just keep faking it. But I understand exactly that it happens to everybody. If it's not from your like a hurt, which means you are not happy with the saying, how may I help you? What's that for? So I think a social activity is the same. Am I really truly engaged in this? Then I think that will be really bring some true outcome in terms of helping that people. But if I'm doing, like when I was a hangja in Hwagesa, a couple of hundred people come to Hwagesa temple to visit, and I have to just swim in the sink to wash the dishes, right? As a hangja, I'm not happy. Well, it's a little different situation. But for even social activity to help people, the basis is, I think, very important. What kind of, do you have joy in that? Or you are just forcing yourself because you have to say, how may I help you? That's it. So I'm all for that. This any activity to help or engage with activity in society. But I think it must be also very clear and important that you have attained this intention that you would like to do. Maybe that's why Zen tradition is a little stuck in. I mean, it's a kind of always talked by people that why Zen tradition isn't engaged in activity to help people in society much compared to other tradition. Perhaps, why are we here for 3 months Gyolje? We have that kind of karma. We have that kind of, how can I say, tendency or character that we don't push you to do, but you came here because you understand what's actually ultimately important to do whatever in your life. Because we understand that is the ground where all the seeds grow in a different form and way. So I think that's why you guys all came here. I didn't tell you have to come here. You are not engaged in society at this moment. I didn't tell you to do. So, because we understand. Because we understand that is very important, but also to do that with this authentic way, we understand there's something that we have to find out inside ourselves. If you can do both, that's great. And I myself actually trying to, that's my homework too. So because you are here, you throw that kind of question to me, I work on that kind of things harder, probably, I hope. So thank you for being here. Please complete your retreat. And I hope this time of your all dealing or struggling or joy can actually someday offer to people in need anywhere. Thank you.